Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming. We'd like to start. Please take your seats. Now we'd like to call for the Mary Rooker to start the next event.
All we can say really is wow. There's a topic in Yeshaya. Hashem says, Yam Kediga Shalom, the pig in the schools I competing with my mouth and the lips, this Jewish nation, glory, and the out of Hashem, only the pig in the schools with the mouth and the lips, but the living the heart is the Lord humanity. I can talk about myself. I grew up wearing this garb all my life, but I wasn't religious all my life. I'm about 30 years ago, I became about Tshuva, and I'm proud to say, and I still I pass out of this road. So this is what it really means to give a church about Jesus and recognize every day that yesterday it was a joke, what do you know, of Hashem, so we can go ahead and move ahead forward. And this is what Hashem is telling us in the Yeshayahu test, that He wants Jewish people with a heart, with enthusiasm, with a charis, live a Yom Tov, live a Shabbat. Not that a Shabbat or any Dvar mitzvah should be a burden, should be a master. We should live in it. Unfortunately, I had to go 3 years behind bars to find out who I am, who I was, and be educated by the government. I got a government education. No government education I got. Anyhow, I'm grateful for Hashem putting me through that yeshiva of 4 days, whatever I spent the time, a couple of years. And what even more is the lovely to see that over here in Williamsburg, in Raleigh Street, this is Raleigh Street, we have tonight, this morning I was out of the shop over here in the basement, and one of a big developer from Williamsburg walked in because they wanted to meet someone. So some local can go to me and says, by the way, the guy who was just here, he's the biggest developer in Williamsburg. So, yes, and when I walked out, I said, yeah, he's a big developer, but when I walked up the stairs, I thought to myself, guess what? If you think that this guy is a developer, wait till tonight is coming. Tonight we'll see a developer. So Gedale Fenster is the biggest developer out here. Developing that us, Hasidic people, because when I was young, all I heard was people from the secular world becoming our Jews. Us Hasidim, we're top of the food chain, we're broken. This is it, right? You don't get it. And so, what I understand that we're able to see that, like the Nabi says over here, that it's infinite, just like Hashem is many thoughts, He's infinite. So too Yiddishkeit is infinite. The higher, the enthusiasm, I mean the feeling, the high that we can get from our witness Hashem, there's nothing to compare. If Hashem helps us, that we'll be able to listen tonight in the rebellion and implement what He said. And we need to do His orders for that. Literally, whatever we hear tonight, it's not just statements. Literally, we have to live it. We'll have a different life. Us, our community, our family, everything around us will be uplifted. So for now, first of all, let me thank, since this event that it should happen so fast. We're hardly any display in other shows 6 months, and many goals. And what's the goal here? They made it happen. Within no time it's happening. We can see this is a Siyata Mishmaya, because it's Kim Midlife, just with, because we know him, we know that guy, it doesn't work. It just literally happened because the Siyata Mishmaya helped us, and this should come to fruition, it should be like what it is. So we should like it then. And the sponsors who sponsored the event that should happen, Leirish, the tribe, and the Moshe, Leirish was and without further ado, down south in Miami.
Thank you.
Gedale.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Beautiful words. Thank you. What beautiful words. Beautiful words. It's funny, no matter where I go, I can't stop with these trains, huh? They chase me everywhere. Our Breslov Center is right next to a railroad track. So every single time, because obviously I have no patience, as soon as I get into a roll and I get into flow, here comes a train. Here comes a train. So it goes to show you how much patience we need to have. So tonight I was looking at the crowd and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prepare 4 speeches because I didn't know what I was getting into in Williamsburg. I mean, between you and me, it's the first time coming to Williamsburg. And I said today, I don't know about this Williamsburg place. But I said, why not? Why not? I want to show people, the whole point is I want to show people that it's not just Chabad taking over the world. Breslov needs to take over the world. I never forget when I was in Miami and I was asking Hashem for a Breslov Center. There was never a Breslov Center before. And I asked Hashem, there's 350 Chabads in Florida. I can't have one Breslov Center? And after that prayer is when I got the Breslov Center. And thank God, I can't tell you, we have CEOs listening to our classes, we have singles from South Beach listening to our classes, we have Hasidim from Williamsburg listening to the classes. So you could see the deepness in these classes. I mean, you should even, the request I get from non-Jews listening to these classes. So, I mean, it's an amazing, amazing thing how when Reb Nachman said, he said, the whole world needs me. The whole world needs me. And he only came to this world to help us out because he knew how tough life was going to be and he knew what people were going to go through. I run a 56-bed drug and detox facility. And I can't tell you, I see Hasidim there. I see Ashkenazim there. I see everybody. And why did Reb Nachman focus so much on not being depressed? Because after depression, everything else falls. And Reb Nachman says you have to fight for whatever you have to be happy. Even if you have to borrow it. Even if you have to borrow it. That's Reb Nachman's message. I want to first thank Yossi for planning this event. Beautiful. He was so persistent, asking 10, 20 times, calling Uriel, get the event. I said, listen, if I was persistent like this, my mother-in-law wouldn't be in my house sometimes. But just because I valued his persistence, I said, you know what? Because he's so hungry, that's why. And I said tonight it's Netzach v'Netzach. Tonight represents the energy of Netzach v'Netzach. Tonight's a night that you can really transform your whole life. But let me explain to you something. Everybody, if you're a billionaire or a beggar, you have 24 hours. But your life can change in one decision. And that's what tonight's about. You have to take a decision. Every single time I go to Uman, I take upon a decision. Because otherwise, if you hear our classes, there's no advertising. I mean, it's not a radio. The purpose of the classes is to do. If you do, you're going to get. If you don't do it, the problem is a lot of people listen, but they need to internalize the message into their heart. That's the number one thing people need to understand. You can talk, but if you're not doing it. And the reason why we have a low effort in something, whenever we have a low effort in something, is because we're viewing it as an obligation, not as an opportunity. We need to understand that. Why am I putting a low effort when I pray? Why am I putting a low effort when I want to do chesed? Because I'm looking this as a burden instead of an opportunity. In order to change something, prayer is not a chore, it's a gift. Torah is not a chore, it's a gift. People are not seeing it. They're not seeing the gift inside because the way they grew up. And then the luckiest thing is when I went, and I can tell you 23 years ago, my life completely changed. I was in the middle of South Beach. God forbid, I was about to marry a non-Jew. And only because I picked up one book from Rabbi Nachman that said, Pigama bris equals to poverty. That's what changed my life. But right away I took that chance. If it wasn't for that book, that book was there to make a decision. See, how it happens is very simple. First, the inspiration comes from above. Then you have to build it. Everybody gets a chance to be inspired. But then it's up to us to get the wheels moving. That's why we do the classes every day. That's why we constantly do this, because we want a fresh attitude. It's very important to always have a fresh attitude. Specifically, imagine if you have a marriage. What happens? In the beginning it's fresh, and afterwards people get used, comfortable, and that's what happens. That's how people's marriages go. So you have to do, if you do what you did in the beginning of a marriage, there's not going to be an end. If you do what you did in the beginning of Avodas Hashem, there won't be an end. But the problem is we get comfortable. We get surrounded by average mentality. So that's one thing that God gave me the blessing, is to really keep things fresh. You have to keep your life fresh. You have to keep your business fresh. You have to keep your health fresh. You have to keep your Torah learning fresh. That means you can't put more effort in business, that you put the same effort you're going to put in business as you're going to put in prayer. Go all in with everything. But don't put all your 23 hours of business, and when it comes to pick up a book, 2 minutes, I can't, I got ADHD. You have to stop making excuses, you have to start making adjustments. That's the purpose of Netzach. Netzach today is about endurance, is about perseverance, is about persistence, is about dealing with the darkness. You would see, unfortunately, you see today, there's more people with what? Post-traumatic stress instead of what? Post-traumatic growth. The purpose, without Emunah, you're going to have post-traumatic stress. With Emunah, you're going to have post-traumatic growth. That means I can't change post-traumatic stress to post-traumatic growth unless I have Emunah. One of the biggest things that changed my life was understanding this whole concept of the Shvirat HaKelim. Never understood this concept. I never understood why one day I would feel great and the next day I would just feel off. Never understood these yeridot and aliyot. Why is this constant, my mood changing? One day you're waking up with energy, another day you can't even wake up. One day you're up, another day you're down. What is with this whole yo-yo action that every single day, it's like God's concealed, God's hidden. It's like a peekaboo show. Until I understood the Shvirat HaKelim. What is the Shvirat HaKelim? The Arizal says that the purpose of the shattering of the vessels was for us to have free will. When God is concealed in your life, that space is where you get the most reward. In the biggest darkness, you get the biggest reward. As we say in Chassidut, the higher something is, the lowest it has to go. Why? Because that has potential. So the Shvirat HaKelim today, the purpose of Shvirat HaKelim, the purpose of trauma, the purpose of divorce, the purpose of, God forbid, abuse, the purpose of all of these things that we're trying to understand. How is God allowing this kind of evil in this world? The evil allows man to have free choice, and when he overcomes evil, that means evil comes from good. It's not a separate entity. If it was a separate entity, you could never elevate it. It has to come from good. So when a person takes, and God forbid, he has a horrible parenting, or he has a horrible childhood, or whatever he is in his life that's traumatizing, because I would say 100% of addicts today come from two problems: trauma or lack of meaning. Very simple. That's the formula. You don't need a PhD to tell you. I've seen hundreds and hundreds. Trauma or no meaning in their life. But trauma is part of life, and we need to understand that. It doesn't mean your life should be a traumatic life, God forbid, living in pain. It means you need to understand that the reason why a person has evil in his life is to overcome it, not to understand it. Let's get that very clearly. The more you try to understand evil, you're gonna get stuck there for life. The more you try to overcome it through emunah, through resilience, through thinking greater than you feel, that's how you're going to do it. That means we're not going to understand it. And I guess the biggest knowledge in life is to recognize we don't know anything. We don't know anything. I fell down practically many times. If I would tell you right now, if you would tell me why I fell, I would never say I felt because I had to open up a rehab center. If I could tell you the amount of pain that came in, even my partner died as an overdose in my rehab. I mean, things don't come from the front door. Things come from the back door today. And we need to understand, you cannot understand the evil. You need to overcome it. And that's one of the biggest things I understand. Because otherwise you're going to have a membership in trauma for life. You're going to have a membership in trauma for life. And what happens? You get stuck all day talking to therapists. You see, today, the problem today is people spend more time talking to the therapist than talking to Hashem. How do you like that? If you spoke to Hashem as the amount of time you spoke to your therapist, you wouldn't need a therapist. Because today we have we specifically when I was younger, we grew up in synagogues. Here, take a book, read it, and copy everybody. No. First, Reb Nachman's telling us, first you need to be happy, and then be religious. First you need a relationship. Without a relationship, what do you have? You just have a religion. And you can buy an outfit for $20. Outfits don't mean anything today. It's what's inside. It's the inside, not the outside. Everybody's judging the outside. I said today, we have a reverse Moreno. Back in Spain, people did Judaism in secret. People here, they dress like they're doing it, but inside they're not doing it. And we have the reverse problem today. The verses the Moranos had. So again, the purpose of we need to understand every spiritual level, and this is something that Rabbi Nachman really taught us, that any time you're going to have a yerida, the whole purpose of a fall is for the sake of a rise. We need to understand this concept, because sometimes in life, you don't know, you think everything's okay, and next thing you know, you fall. But that fall is only to hit a new level. If we don't have the dot to understand that the fall is the purpose of the rise, you're going to say, listen, I tried it for 15 days, I fell. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. You're supposed to fall. Why are you supposed to fall? Why not just rise? Because if you just rose all the time, you know what happened to you? You would become very arrogant. And you could say, listen, what do I need God for? I'm rising on my own. So the purpose of falling, that means in order for Hashem to elevate you, first He has to humble you. To recognize that it's not your efforts. You have to make the effort, but at the end of the day, your success is not based on you, it's based on Hashem. And sometimes also we get caught up in business. We think it's our business that's making the money. It's our business. If I work harder, I'm going to make more money. If I do this, I'm going to make more money. And I gave this great example. It's like somebody single relying on an app to get married. What would you say to them? You know what? What do I need this boat to do? To have an app. A new app came out. Why should I worry about the app? That means we don't put the effort in the app. The app is a keli. The business is coming from Hashem. But what happens is when we start looking and we start putting the effort into the app, not into, that means people are spending more time swiping and less time praying. Then what happens? We're thinking it's the app. We're thinking it's the business. And then what happens? We fall into this concept called Mochim Kadnut. Reb Nachman spoke a lot about Mochim Kadnut. What is Mochim Kadnut? It's a Kabbalah way of saying bad mood. Mochim Kadnut is basically a nice way in Kabbalah of saying, I'm in a bad mood. Why are we in a bad mood? Because what we focus on. So what happens when we're in a bad mood? Reb Nachman says in lesson 105, when we're in a bad mood, it's because our perspective is off. We're not focusing on the right thing. I want to give you a prime example of what happened to me. Nice Syrian kid comes into my rehab, he's taking heroin, and he's 27 years old. Thank God he's healthy, etc., but he had a midlife crisis, he broke down completely. So he says, listen, he came over to my house, I said, listen, why are you taking heroin? What are you running away from? He's saying, my girlfriend broke up with me. I said, where was she from? Moroccan. She did you a favor. I'm just kidding. So basically, so I'm telling him, I said, listen, I'm 41. I've already been divorced. I've already been there, done that. You're going to find another girl. There's a lot of people out there. It's not the end of the world. There's thousands of singles out there. You're going to find somebody else. Stop focusing on that. Focus on and you have health. Focus that you didn't relapse. Focus on all the good things in your life. What's your problem? Your perception. I said, you know what happened to my 13-year-old son? He lost his phone. What did he do when he lost his phone? You know what he said? it's the end of the world. Or what am I going to do with my apps? What am I going to do with my friends? I lost his number. I lost his number. What would the 27-year-old tell the 13-year-old? Get a new phone. What's the big deal? Because his perception is only 13 years old. My 2-year-old daughter broke her toy. She's crying. What would the 13-year-old tell the 2-year-old daughter? Big deal. You get a new toy. So the problem is, when we get stuck in Mochim Kadnud, it's because that's the way we're looking at the problem. Our perception is off. Our life comes down to the 2-year-old toy. Our life comes down to the 13-year-old iPhone. Our life goes down to the 27-year-old guy that the life is over because he broke up with a girl. So what happens? You stay there. And then we say all this all the time. When somebody tells you, listen, this guy is like this. Why is he like this? It's because something outside of his life happened. Some personal reality became his personality. What do you mean he's an angry guy? What do you mean he's like that all the time? His whole life, one event happened, and he became like that. So what happens? We get stuck. We get stuck. We get stuck in life. And that's the way we view life. So that's the number one thing I try to do, is get people to think outside the box, because it's usually your perception. So the purpose of the Shvirat HaKelim, when something breaks in your life, it's to change your perception, the way you're looking at it, or what you're doing. Stop taking it personal. Stop taking it personal. People take everything personal today. That's the problem. I had a bad parenthood, I must not be worthy. I had a failure in business, I'm not smart enough. I'm getting negative thoughts in my head, I need a psychologist. Reb Nachman spoke all the time. Can't you just observe your thoughts? Why do you have to attach yourself to them all the time? You know how many times I get a thought in my head, what are you going to Williamsburg for at the end of the day? Maybe this thought came to me 150 times. What are you doing in Williamsburg? Look at the weather. Why'd you just take it easy tonight? Go tomorrow to Park East. Take it easy. What are you going to go to Williamsburg for? Who's this Yossi guy who's taking you here? All of this mishagat came to my head. But if I start listening to every thought I hear, I'm going to be in bed sleeping. So we cannot think the way we feel. What's that means? That means if I don't feel like doing something, I need to do it. It's the complete opposite. Because the way in spirituality it works, anytime you want to do, who does this bodhidut here, out of this room? Let's say. Baruch Hashem, 4 people out of 4. Okay, 4%. 4% is not bad for a very religious atmosphere. How come it's so hard for a guy, he can watch the Knicks lose for 3 hours, which that's all they do is lose, but he can't do his bodhidut for 5 minutes? How's that possible? Why? Don't we ever realize that? Why can't I pray for 5 minutes? You tell a guy, listen, do his bodhidut, 5 minutes. Look at all the problems you have. No, I can't. I want to shoot myself, speaking time with myself. Don't you realize that's a problem? But how come you can watch the Knicks lose for 3 hours without a blink of an eye? It's because anything spiritual in life, where you can build kelim, where you can grow, there's reward. If it's not spiritual, they'll let you do whatever you want. You know how many people tell me, what do I need to marry this girl for? Look at all the problems she's giving me. I have this other girl, she's nice to me, she takes care of me, she gives me a massage, she does this for me. But you're not going to grow your whole life. What do you think? You're not going to get bored of it? So what happens in spiritual, you pay the price first. Over there, you get the freebie. You get the nice girl with the vacation, but you'll pay for it in 3 years. You see the difference? People tell me, what do I need to date this mishuga? What do I need this headaches for? Yes, it's a headache, but you're going to get a reward for it afterwards. The other one, you're going to get it free first, and you're going to pay later. You know how much fighting I'm doing to fight intermarriage in America? 50% intermarriage? Where all of a sudden the guy thinks he's married to the girl in 3 years, he's got a Christmas tree in his house. That's what he pays for it. He didn't pay for it in the beginning, but he's going to pay for it when she says, you know what, I don't want to do this comfort thing anymore. I want to go back to my roots. That's where you pay for it. So we need to understand, nothing is free in life. If I'm paying a price for it now, it's good. I'll pay for it. I'm thankful for it. If I get it too easy, I'm going to pay for it afterwards. And that's what Rav Nachman taught us. Fight our feelings. If it's bothering you, do it. If you're procrastinating, you need to procrastinate procrastination. You know what Rav Nachman used to say all the time? Tomorrow I'll take a day off. And you know what happened tomorrow? Tomorrow I'll take a day off. What do we tell? You hire a contractor in Miami. In Spanish, I'll tell you what. Mañana. I'll come back mañana. What does the Israeli guy tell you? Bli never. Bli never. Not bli neder. Bli never. But the mentality is today, we need to recognize if something is that you need to do. We're not going to tell you lesson 66. The more important the goal is to you, that's how much you're going to struggle in it. Why do you think I have so many guys? 40-day challenge. Don't talk to me until you take your 40-day challenge. Because if you don't take the 40-day challenge, you're not going to think straight. It's like asking an alcoholic, well, can't you just walk straight on the line? No, but you're spinning. So Rav Nachman told us that our moach, our brain, and our purity in the Brit is connected. You can't have spirituality without fixing the Brit. It's the engine. That's what I stress specifically with the guys. You can't have spirituality. That is the window. That is the yesod. The level of, you work on this, the more God reveals to you spirituality. So that's why I spent so much time, 40-day challenges, Tikkun HaKlali. When I went to Los Angeles, in Beverly Hills, I gave a class on dating. What do you think I talked about 99% of the day? Marry a Persian girl, marry a Moroccan girl? Where are the klipot? I gave away 400 Tikkun HaKlalis. I said, you guys are not going to get married with all these klipot. What do klipot do today? They confuse you. They confuse you. They make you cooled off spiritually. They tell you, you know what, you don't need this girl. So that's what Rav Nachman says. Fix the Brit first. You fix the Brit, you fix your life. I'll promise you, 23 years ago, if I picked up a book, I threw it on the ground. I didn't want to have anything to do with anything spiritual. Nothing spiritual. When I fixed this, Tikkun HaKlali, after I started reading Tikkun HaKlali, my whole life changed. My whole life changed because I didn't realize I was completely clouded. So that's why we speak so much about this. We need to recognize that's the first place to start. And we shouldn't have shame over it. It's not, the right message is not to have shame. The message is to say, you know what could my life be if I had Tikkun HaKlali? When a guy calls me and tells me, listen, I don't know why I'm talking about Tikkun HaKlali, I have like a whole different speech prepared, but let's run with it and then we'll go back to that. Somebody needs Tikkun HaKlali here, I don't know who it is, but we're not going to point fingers here. Probably more than one person needs Tikkun HaKlali here. So, at the end of the day, you have to get enough leverage. Any time that you can't make a lasting change in life, you have to get enough leverage. I can't say, just need Tikkun HaKlali, but when the guy calls me and tells me, listen, I can't find the shidduch, my parnas is down, I have brain fog, but I can't do it. You got to get enough leverage. That means if you can't do something, if you tell the guy, listen, if you continue to eat sugar, I'm going to cut off your arm in diabetes. Can't I just have one more piece of cake? You want your arm or you want the cake? What would you like? So any time that I can't make a change in my life, I don't have enough leverage. You need to get enough leverage. You need to say, what could my life be if I found my zivru? My parnasa would be better, because my parnasa comes from the wife. My emotions would be better. My energy would be better. I would be connected spiritually. Is that worth the 10 minutes? Gotta get enough leverage. Gotta get enough leverage. And that's why we speak to people. My approach is very different. I'm not going to just tell you, say this psalm, say that psalm, things are going to be good. I'm going to tell you, listen, what is this costing you? What is it costing you at the end of the day? Because you're not going to get people to change unless you tell them, look what it's costing you. Look what it's costing you. Then you can change. That's why people don't change today, because people are not, some of the people speaking are not getting to the psychology of why the guy's not doing it. Same thing with his bodedut. Reb Nachman said his bodedut is greater than everything else. He said it, lesson 25. His bodedut is greater than everything else. All my classes come from his bodedut. Every single class. What I speak about, it comes like a window. Comes flowing down. We have the biggest decisions in our life today. Should I take this job? Should I take that job? Should I marry her? Should I marry him? What should I do with my children? Everything can accomplish in speech through Hashem. But what happens? Let me worry about it. Let me think about it. What are you thinking about? What's that going to do? Why do we need to even speak? Rav Nachman says in lesson 34, if God already knows what I have to say. It's because speech creates vessels. Back then, when the Jews were in Egypt, Hashem was controlled. But then he says, open up your mouth and I will fill it. Open up your mouth and I will fill it. You open up your mouth and I will fill it. So if you spend 99% of the time complaining and 1% praying, what do you expect to happen? You're going to get what you're going to get what you've always gotten. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. That's a chidush for you. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. That means everything works on an arousal. What does Rav Nachman say in lesson 106? The biggest thing we need to fight today is constrictor consciousness. Constrictor consciousness is looking at things through a midah of din. Look, Hashem's punishing me. He's out to get me. He doesn't want me to get married. If we're looking at it like that, what happens? We draw the name Elohim. Because if a person's constricted, and if a person's, God forbid, depressed, what is he going to end up doing? He's going to say, listen, why would I approach Hashem? Look what he's doing to me. You understand? His belief about Hashem is Hashem is punishing him. So what is he going to do? When you feel somebody's punishing you, what are you going to do? You're going to withdraw. But if you think Hashem is doing it for your favor, what are you going to do? You're going to approach. The reason why you're withdrawing is because you think that your prayers don't work. You think that whatever you do is not working. So you don't have self-esteem in your tefillah. You have to believe in your tefillah. A person has to believe in his prayers. Noam Elimelech said the same thing. Noam Elimelech says, a person has to be careful not to become a shlamazel. Not to become this false humility. People think, oh, look how humble he is. You know what real humility is? Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means thinking of yourself less. That's humility. Not thinking about yourself all the time. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't get up in the morning and say, you know what? Hashem wants my prayers, and I'm going to pray, and He's going to answer me. You have to have that core. I do it all the time. And He answers me, because I believe in it. But if you don't believe in your prayers, then you're not going to spend more than 5 minutes. Because all actions, remember this line, all actions are belief-driven. If you want to change a long-term action, you need to change your beliefs about that action. Your beliefs determine what? Your thoughts. Your thoughts determines your speech. Your speech determines your actions. Your actions determines what you do. And what you do over time becomes your habits. So how can you change a habit if you don't change the belief about it? Not going to happen. Why do you think people have such a hard time changing habits? Because they're trying to change the habit without changing the belief. If you think exercise is a chore, if you think exercise is horrible, what are you going to do? Mom, no way I'm going to exercise. I'm going to say it's Bittul Torah. I'm going to say whatever I'm going to say, because that's my belief about it. But if I think, wow, exercise is a gift, it gives me 6 hours to learn straight, it gives me the ability to think straight, it gives me a natural Ritalin, it gives me focus, then what am I going to do? Approach it. You want to change a long-lasting belief? You need to change your belief about that situation. If I believe keeping the brit is connected to my parnasa, it's connected to my zivug, it's connected to my spirituality, then what am I going to do? I'm going to go all in. But if I don't really believe that, I'm not really, pretty much not going to do it. If I believe treating my wife is 100% number one, shalom bayit, is number one, then I'm going to put every effort to make her happy. If I don't believe it, then I'm not going to care. This goes on and on. That's what I have to tell people. You need to change your beliefs about the thing that you're dealing with. Either get more leverage, get more importance. When I read Tikkun HaKlali, and I read Rabbi Nachman's message that said sexual impurity will lead to poverty, whoa. Stop the movie. What do I need to do? Because I don't want to be poor. I'd rather have the pain of fixing it than have the pain of being poor. That's how you make a change. You're not going to make a change. Oh, that's nice. Oh, look at this. This is nice. You're not putting it into your heart. That's the problem. You're reading something and it's not going into your heart. If it's not going to go into your heart, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. What's real pain today? Real pain does not mean physical. Real pain means being away from Hashem. If you want me to tell you what real pain today is, I can be completely broken in life. I can be completely, but I know I'm closer to God in my darkest challenges. What is real pain? Avoidance of Hashem. Running away from Hashem. That's real pain. Rabbi Nachman clearly spoke about it. And he says, lesson 24. He said that there's a difference between being depressed, God forbid, and being brokenhearted. I can be brokenhearted. People, God forbid, they have a kid off the derech. You lose a loved one. You lose whatever it is. People have. You are going to be brokenhearted. What do you think you use when you're brokenhearted? When you're brokenhearted, that's the time you cry out to God. But what happens when you're depressed? You run away. You shut down. You numb emotions. You numb emotions. Food is not going to help you transform darkness. Marijuana is not going to help you transform darkness. None of this stuff is going to help you. I promise you. Maybe it'll help you for 20 minutes, or half an hour, but then it's going to come back bigger and bigger. What do you think addicts try to do? They're trying to solve a problem. An addiction is an attempt to solve a problem. How else can I think greater than I feel? You want to think greater than you feel? You want to eat? You want to smoke it? It's going to come right back to you. That's not right. That's not the real bittul. Real bittul means, yes, I'm in pain right now. I can close my eyes. But what happens is we start transforming pain. We recycle pain. That's when you're going to get the reward. When you take the darkest life and you don't numb it. Because when you numb things in life, you're getting a free bittul. You didn't earn it. You didn't earn that yeshuvat adat. Guy tells me, listen, I'm closer to Hashem when I smoke weed. Well, you're closer to Hashem when you smoke weed. Yes, it's an artificial closeness. It's an artificial, you didn't earn that closeness, but what happens? He gets schizophrenia, he gets negative thoughts afterwards. You can't get that for free. Anytime you get something for free, you're going to pay for it. You think I have a problem, I can eat a donut and forget about the problem? And the problem's not going to get bigger? You need to use emunah. What does emunah do? It makes you think greater than you feel. How else can I think greater than I feel? How else can I do that? Right now I don't feel good. Not right now, but in a person's not in a state of mochim gadlut, he's in a state of consciousness, he's constricted, he's in pain. How else is he allowed to, how else can he think greater than he feels? Faith. There's no other recipe. Either you have faith, or you have these artificial highs, artificial tranquilizers, artificial. But you're not fixing the problem. You're not fixing the problem. Only way to fix the problem is you break your heart and you cry out to God. So what Nachman's message is, it's not It's a different way of coping. Different way of coping means, I have a problem, I have this bodhidut at 6 o'clock in the morning, we'll talk about it then. Right now I can't worry about it because I need the rest of the day. But if I worry about it all day long, what happens? I shut down, I can't get the rest of the day, tomorrow I wake up exhausted, and then I say, you know what? Look what God did to me. People need to start questioning their thinking and stop questioning God. When you start questioning your thinking, I promise you, you're going to get amazing results. When you start questioning God, I haven't seen that many people win. But when you start questioning your thinking, wow, why was I thinking like that? Is that true? No, you know what? Let me change my perspective. Maybe I was overdoing it. How about this? This month is a month of Iyar. Sefer Yetzirah says the month of Iyar represents what? Thought. Do you think your thoughts can make you sick? Yes or no? Yes, guaranteed. Can your thoughts make you happy? Yes. Shouldn't you be careful what you focus on? How do you how about the fact that everything you think about, if it's suppressed, it affects every single one of your emotions? How do you like that? Every emotion is connected to a specific organ if it's imbalanced. Let me give you an example. That's what Reb Nachman says, that lack of simcha is the cause of illness, because it brings what? Dis-ease. The body's not at ease. And the greatest healer is joy. Why? Because when you have joy, what happens? Scientifically, either you have the parasympathetic system going, which is the relaxed response, or the fight or flight, which is what? Which is the stress response. So what does he say here? If you have grief, what organ do you think is related to grief? The lungs. Grief, when a person has grief, it's associated with the lungs. When he has this, a person's become energetically drained. Grief is resulting from hanging on to things. Do you know anybody that hangs on to things? How about people that look like they're 500 pounds emotionally? You ever walk around those people? They have so much weight on them. Let go! Let go! What do you think that your 13 meters of rachamim are? When you let go, upstairs they let go for you. Why would you not let go? What are you doing holding on to a negative emotion? So grief is being stuck in the past. What's the difference? Who stepped in the mud? Who put you in the mud? Mud is mud. Now it's time to get out of the mud. You want to talk about everybody who put you in the mud? It's not going to help you. I always tell people, very simple. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. It's never too late. I had a specifically Hasidic guy in my rehab. 2.5 weeks, he didn't speak to anybody. All of a sudden, Purim comes along, and I said, listen, I have one shot, it's Purim. This is a day where crazy things can happen. I spent 3 hours with him. I broke him down. The whole problem was, he never forgave his father. Even though his father put him into treatment, his father took care of him, his father did a lot of things. Okay, he wasn't there for him emotionally. But imagine if you would write a book, I had a rough childhood. How many copies would you sell? Tons of people have rough childhoods. But when I got him to forgive his father, and I said, you're calling him today to forgive him. Once you forgive him, your life is going to change. But you need to forgive him from your heart. The minute he gave him, the next day, Hashem gave him a new brain. Gave him a new brain. The guy was a different person. People couldn't understand it. They labeled him this, they labeled him that, because what happens is when you create an arousal below, upstairs is an arousal above. Things don't happen without you making a move. You need to forgive, upstairs they forgive. You keep it, you hold it in here, upstairs they hold it in there. So 1 second decision changed his life. After that incident, he started meeting people. He became who he's supposed to be. But until you hold things in, Remember, if somebody's not able to give love, they can't give you love. What do you want from them? They can't give you love. If they have it, they'll give it to you. If they don't have it, they won't give it to you. That means you can't take your childhood personal. Too many people have taken their childhood personal and they destroyed their whole future. Destroyed their whole future. It's never too late to have a happy childhood by saying, you know what? I never thought for 20 years I took things personal. You know what? It's time for a new story. Because that other story is not doing anything for me. So today, I'm going to call and say, I forgive you. The first thing I do to addicts, specifically Jewish ones, I get them to forgive everybody. Because if they start forgiving everybody, I'm connected to Keter. I'm connected to the most abundant level of mercy. And don't you think that guy needs mercy right now? Does a guy stuck in a heroin addiction need mercy? Can he afford to have a grudge right now? Whereas he's one shot away from dying. He needs so much mercy. So I said, my friend, right now you need a lot of mercy. Give mercy, you're going to get mercy. It's the way it works. Hold it in, you're going to make yourself sick. So he did it. He's a different person today. Different person. I could have given him 25 therapists, the best therapists, but he had to make the move. You start letting go. So grief is connected to what? Letting go. Letting go. Letting go. Save your lungs by letting go. That's how that is connected. That means if you're in the past, it's definitely connected to what? Grief. And it destroys your energy too, by the way. If you're interested in energy, that's the number one to destroy your energy. Second thing. That's grief. Second is fear. What organ is connected to fear? Kidneys. Kidneys. People are walking around with adrenal insufficiency. They're exhausted, exhausted, exhausted. Because what happens is every time you produce cortisol from fear, what happens? Your body doesn't know if you're in the middle of Africa, if you're running away from your mother-in-law, or you're in the office, doesn't know where you are. So what's fear? Lack of bitachon. Either you have trust or you have fear. You know what happens with fear? Fear takes away your future. Takes away your future. You start procrastinating when you have fear. You don't make long-term decisions. You don't become. It's stealing your whole life. Fear. I had a horrible divorce. Horrible divorce. You know what I did? 2 months later I got married. 2 months later. Because I said there's no way. And I could have said, maybe it's going to happen again. How do I know? How do I don't know? I said, I don't live in fear. This is not the way I live my life. I'm going to live in fear. I'm going to be stuck in ever. I'm going to be stuck in a story. I do not live in fear. You know what? How fear lives? You give it time. You procrastinate. You procrastinate. Tomorrow I'll go on that diet. Tomorrow I'll do this. Tomorrow. Every time you say tomorrow, you're giving fear more koach. That's how it lives. Fear lives. Fear tells you when to do it, what to do. You know how you take fear out of the equation? What is a person who trusts? What does he do? He makes a decision. He doesn't procrastinate. He doesn't live in a shell. He doesn't blame other people. He makes action. Take action. Otherwise, you have adrenal insufficiency, regret. But what are they going to think about me? Who cares? Who cares what they think about you? People are worried. I don't want to do this because what are they going to think about me if I fail? Who cares? Who cares? That's the bottom line. Who cares? That's how you should have a mentality. So that's connected to water elements. When you're imbalanced in fear, you get exhausted, you get sick, you get anxious. What is it worth? So somebody talks about you? So perfectionism, procrastination, that's all rooted in fear. And I told everybody very simple. There's no magic box in life. You're going to pick a specific shidduch. Either way, you're going to learn a lesson. Your life is your lesson. It's not that you're not going to get a magic. Oh, magic, no problems. How ridiculous is that thinking? You have to realize positive thinking means, yes, I'm going to have challenges, but I know how to handle them. I'm resilient. You get all of a sudden, you start meeting somebody, oh, there's problems. Must be a problem. No, you can't think like that. Reb Nachman even told us, if you want to make parnasa, lesson 23, you know what he told us? You have to scream 140 times. The first 70 times represents a birth. A woman cries 70 times in a birth. She has to scream, she has contractions. Why does she have contractions? Because she's giving birth to a baby. That's why. Is it, what is she going to do? God forbid, abort the baby? God forbid? No. That's part of life, contractions. Business also has contractions. Stock market goes up, stock market goes down. Contractions. This is your life. Contractions. Got to get used to the contractions. They're painful, but they go away, and the baby comes out. And what are the other 70 cries for? Because the word mamon means 140. The other 70 represent making sure that don't think you're the one making the money. You have to scream out in prayer, please Hashem, I see I'm successful. Please protect me that I don't think I'm the one making the money. Not from my hands. The 140 cries have to come out. The more cries you put in prayer, the less cries you have in business. The less cries in prayer, that's what Reb Nachman told us. Either you cry in prayer or you cry in business. You're going to cry somewhere. It's up to you. 6 o'clock in the morning can help you with a 3 o'clock problem. What do you think prayer is a gift? It's a gift. It's not a chore. People need to understand. His bone, the dude should have 99% of the hands. This is the ultimate weapon against any war you have in your life. And you're not using it. You're overthinking. Let's think again. And let me think about it. You think? Let me think again. I always tell people that they want to think about things. I said, do me a favor. What new information do you have to make a better decision? When a guy tells me, let me think about going into rehab. Okay. Give me new information that you have that's going to make you make a better decision. Stop thinking and doing. Gotta do. And that's what Reb Nachman is telling us here. Prayer. This is what God gave you the gift. This is his whole essence, was this. And this is what we need to recognize, that we're spending our problems in the wrong time. Instead of praying to change the situation, pray to change the way you look at the situation. Instead of praying to change the situation, pray to change the way you're looking at the situation. Very important concept. If you pray to get, you're going to probably be exhausted. See, I told the truth. If you pray to connect, you're going to get. See, again, it's the approach. The approach is off. Look, this broke. Please fix it. Well, why do you think you got the problem in the first place? It's to fix you. It's not to fix a thing. Imagine the guy asking Hashem, fix my wife. How ridiculous would that be? Fix my wife for me. I don't know what's wrong with her. You think he's going to have any chance? He should say, Hashem, what am I doing that I don't have a Shekhinah in my house? Don't you think that's going to be a better answer? What am I doing? What can I become better at? Not bitter, better. Fix my wife. Fix this. Fix that, instead of fixing an inner. So this is where all the problems today, Reb Nachman say, it's a lack of da'at. It's a lack of da'at.